Education that creates only competent examinees. The number of young people entering science and engineering is rapidly declining. What is the reason and what is the countermeasure? The importance of standardized tests is over-exaggerated. Schools busy with the competition to turn students into competent examinees are neglecting true education. Appearing more competent than other students is also important, and rankings can be useful. However, we must not forget the reality of science. A good scientist should be good at different work, not same as others. As in the United States, Korea is increasingly measuring academic achievement through standardized tests at the school, regional, and national level. Of course, there are also positive aspects to such tests. It can improve teachers' leadership skills and can be a means of fair evaluation without regional differences. However, too much of a good thing becomes a problem. Korea's Ministry of Education and Human Resources Development provides 24-hour CSAT lectures through Education Broadcasting System, EBS, and the Internet. Such an extremely standardized education that does not recognize any differences has never been attempted anywhere in the world. Education that only emphasizes fair tests cannot develop creative and independent thinking skills. The situation in Korea, which I have grasped through Korean students and people I have met in Korea, is much more serious than the United States, which I am concerned about. Standardized education and tests make people obsessed with scores. The talent of the student, the ability of the teacher, and the level of the school are all determined by the grade. So are admissions to top universities, performance salaries for teachers, and reputations of schools. It is natural for teachers to want to raise students to be competent examinees, but unexpected side effects appear that give up students' creativity and ability to experiment. Experimental education requires a lot of money in manpower, time, preparations, and safety, and it is difficult to evaluate students' abilities. It is perhaps natural for teachers who are not sufficiently compensated socially to stay away from experimental education, which is difficult to evaluate and expensive, and instead emphasize only preparation for standardized tests. As a result, we end up producing competent examinees rather than students with an inquisitive mind and independent thinking skills. Some students may win the physics or chemistry Olympiad, but most students fail to disassemble and reassemble simple objects or perform simple experiments. An education that only emphasizes tests and grades can raise a smart generation with shallow knowledge. However, such a generation has no questions about the nature in which we live. All students should be given the opportunity to challenge problems for which there is no specific answer. This can be done in a variety of ways, including science clubs, science festivals, and educational courses that emphasize experimentation. We will pay a heavy price for the unexpected consequences of an education that places too much emphasis on exams. Education that fails to develop independent thinking and problem-solving skills has a serious impact on students entering college and society. Having taught chemistry to freshmen at Stanford University for the past 25 years, I want to make it clear that such an education is a very dangerous game that ruins the future of mankind. It should be noted that standardized tests may be a means of increasing academic achievement, but they do not make our ultimate goal any easier. Source: Richard Zare, Professor, Stanford University. This was 15 years ago. In reality, nothing has changed between the past and present, but rather has become more degenerate. The saying "you will reap what you sow" applies to education as well. It is time to taste the fruit of the wrong education system. Public education and private education are messed up. This is the beginning of the suffering of the younger generation. By Unison.